years old. It's 8mm, but we do think those of you who were around will really enjoy it. Those of you who weren't, we want you to see what wrestling was like back then. So, Ed, we've got, get this, Mad Dog Vachon.
The Vachon brothers and Mad Dog, he was a wild man. He really was. This guy was crazy. And of course, Butcher.
Yeah. And they're going up here against their arch enemies here in Atlanta, the Torres brothers.
Was that Enrique and Ramon?
Yes, Enrique and Ramon Torres. And quite a battle going on, as you can see here. And chairs brought into the ring.
This was a main event.
Yeah.
This was a main event. These guys went all out, and they were tough. They were great
Remember
athletes.
this man?
Oh, Mr. Wrestling.
How about Mr. Wrestling?
Tim Woods.
Tim Woods. This was before he unmasked.
White mask now, right.
And he was the white knight of wrestling back then. And everybody, their goal was to get that mask off. This is when the assassins would bring in masked men to try and take the mask off Tim Woods, but he just wouldn't go for it. I've got a friend of yours coming up in the
referee was Charlie Harbin, by the way.
At that time.
Right.
Absolutely. And as you can see here, look at this.
Paul Jones in the ring, right, and
El
myself with
Mongol
Paul.
and Dandy Jack.
Dandy Jack. What a manager.
Wasn't he something? Here is El Mongol, one of the, back then, the prolific, I think, user of feet.
Well, he was a tremendous athlete. He stayed in shape, and he still stays in shape. And he still, as far as I know, wrestles.
I understand he has wrestled some. Here we have him taking quite a licking from another fella, but I feel sure that I can remember that he ended up with some help from Dandy Jack. I love that. Now, the referees of today need to get as involved as that, but as you can see, the referee pays for it.
Tell me where we are now.
Well, we've got the El Mongol. Dandy Jack has come into the ring, and El Mongol lost the match. Now,
the Infernos.
The Infernos.
And J.C. Dykes.
J.C. Dykes.
There was another manager of managers.
That's right. In this match, if the Infernos lost, they had to unmask. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, as you can see, quite a melee.
Who were they wrestling here?
They were wrestling the Torres brothers. They lost, and they did have to unmask.
Right, the film moves pretty quickly, so it's hard to spot. There's Ramon, of course, and Enrique. And Alberto, of course, the third member of the Torres brothers, died in a match in Nebraska after a match with Ox Baker.
This is the pro.
Right, Doug Gilbert.
Doug Gilbert, that's right. And we have something coming up on this tape in just a couple of seconds. If you'll remember, the pro was brought in by the Assassins to be a third partner.
What an athlete.
And he was something else for back then.
Look at that body.
He was amazing.
Tremendous.
Then he teamed up with the Assassins back in those days, and they made quite a six-man. People think that boxing matches with wrestlers are something new. Paul DeMarco and Joe Scarpa with the boxing gloves on.
You know, you've shown everything you've shown so far. All of these guys were, and still are, many of them, super athletes.
The Assassins and Gilbert lost a match, and one of the men had to unmask. They convinced Doug Gilbert to, and there at the arena, Doug Gilbert unmasked, showed himself as Doug Gilbert. That turned into one of the biggest feuds because he was so upset after having to unmask at that time.
The announcer was very young.
Ed Caffrell, young Ed Caffrell. Buddy Fuller, Bob Armstrong, a young man from Marietta. There's remember this guy?
He always called me the pencil neck geek. Right.
Absolutely. Wrestling Mad Dog Vachon.
Was that Butcher?
Is it?
That was Butcher,
that's Butcher Vachon. You're right.
Right. And Eddie Smith, the referee, he was that's Charlie Smith. That's one of the perennial Smith brothers. They weren't brothers. They
called it Freddie Blassie the Vampire because he was always biting people.
Right.
Here we've got again J.C. Dykes giving you a hard time in the ring.
Well, that was nothing new.
Yeah. Every time you would go in to announce, I could remember J.C. Dykes coming over and telling you how to pronounce names or anything.
He did that in the dressing room and in the ring.
One last shot we want to show you, Ed. This one, Ed Caffrell, Paul Jones, and Buddy Fuller off of a television.
Paul Jones.